Okay, we're ready. I will say I'm at work looking forward to your insights and thoughts. I'm also expecting POE2 is coming. Okay, any questions? That's like, I'm sure they're gonna have something to reveal. Listen, I will say I saw the announcement on Twitter that it was going to be 30 US to play. And I love that they're not, like, that's such an approachable price point, and I'm also like really impressed that they're able to keep it the same. Oh, he's talking.
A relic of the old world.
Oh, he's not talking.
Ready your men, Captain. We will only get one chance. And remember, when you hear the whispers, call for help. Do not attack.
When you hear the whispers.
It's a fucking cinematic.
It's Dorman, right?
Yeah?
Then Dorman, shut your damn mouth. Ugh, why do I always get stuck with these rookies?
Hey, the kid's got a mean cleave. Give him a chance.
Quiet.
Oh, look at the trees. Oh my god. Have we ever seen POE like this?
Sullen!
It looks so good.
A mean cleave, eh, Captain? Rookie can't even
Look at
lift
her
his own.
glove details.
Captain Oren? Captain?
Look at the weapon.
It's here. Rain! Send the signal!
What the fuck?
Rain!
He's wearing this one.
On my back will be blade up!
Come on. I'm ready.
Okay, this is kind of cute that they're scared because POE is objectively a very scary game if you IRL in it.
No.
The back-to-back moment. I'm so obsessed.
Run!
Are we just being attacked by like a single mob? Or is this a boss? This looks like the guide guy? From the tree? Whoa.
Captain! Captain!
In hindsight, maybe I'm... Oh no, that's an exile.
Stop! Humanity isn't ready.
Oh my god, is that a skill gem?
Sir, the captain,
You'll be fine. Here.
What is it?
No, it's a monster. I have no idea what's happening.
Mortal. It can still be contained. You don't know what you have unleashed.
Your kind no longer control this world. We cannot destroy your body, it's true. But you will watch as we destroy everything you have built. Bind him!
Bruh. The textures,
Feed. Grow, my child.
he's got
I'll make sure
paws.
you can eat your fill.
Like, the... I just get... What the fuck do we want?
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2. Now, Path of Exile 2 is going into early access in around 2 weeks on December the 6th. But even though it's early access, this isn't just some small taste. The game is huge. In this live stream, we're going to be introducing everything you can expect. So without further ado, let's roll the gameplay trailer.
Yeah, baby.
Existence is a thing of beauty, precious, but impermanent.
Oh, it's gonna be so beautiful.
Life and death are mortal enemies.
Oh my god.
And yet bound to one another. The continuation of life must be protected at all costs. Some have said my methods are brutal.
They do look a little
This,
bit.
I say, there can be no salvation without sacrifice.
Where? Oh yes, OG trial. Oh my god, the tree looks so different. We're gonna have to pause this shit because we're getting ascendancies already. Oh, it's so good to see Path
We
of
are
Exile
faced
in
with
such
the
high
end,
res.
And I will do what I must.
What the fuck? Was that like... Is that the Atlas? Oh my god, is that Endgame? Plus, I mean, Camille has... This music is so good.
Those who obsess with death, let them soon be acquainted with it.
Bro, I feel called out so much.
Now, as you just saw, even in early access, Path of Exile 2 is a big game.
Hey,
It's
Grumpy
actually been
McElvin.
5 years since we announced POE2.
It
Over
has
that time, we've
been.
revealed a lot, but it's been in bits and pieces. It's pretty hard to keep track of it all, so today we're going to do a full rundown of all the content that will be available at the start of early access. Classes, character progression systems, and for the first time, a full overview of the end game. This is going to be a big one, so get comfortable. For 20 years, Rayclast has been free from any sources of corruption, but the Count of Ogham, tempted by promises of power, intends to harness it once more. The dead are rising, monsters are mutating, and madness is spreading. Under the dark influence of corruption, the Count doles out sentences of death to any who would question him.
That was our original classes, right?
And this is where you find yourself at the start of POE2. Explore the dark forests of Ogham. Traverse the barren plains
What? No. Come back.
of the Vesteri Desert. And delve into the jungle ruins of Utsal, an ancient Val city. There are challenges
Is this happening to everyone?
challenging monsters, hidden runes, lost camps and treasures, roaming merchants, and of course, unique bosses.
Okay, that's
No
them
two
and not
areas are the
me.
same. It falls to you to track down the seed of corruption, the source of all this devastation. On the way, you'll face fearsome monsters, meet strange characters, forge unlikely bonds, and uncover lost civilizations. But first, you'll need to pick a class.
Fuck, it's not running well, is it?
Now, early access will initially have 6 classes available. Let's have a look at them. The Monk is a fast and furious melee fighter. He dashes in and out of combat, and his mechanics
this is
involve
so
building
hard
up
to
and keeping
watch.
momentum. Like all classes in POE2, you'll want to use a wide variety of skills to mix and match different combos. To get
This just means that what they're broadcasting, their bitrate is unstable.
new skills, you will first need to find skill gems. Using a skill gem will open the gem cutting menu,
They're gonna
which shows
be
all the
streaming
active
at
skills available
1080.
in POE2.
They
You can
need a
choose an
minimum
existing-
of 3,000 up. I don't think I've seen them fuck up before. I wonder why their bitrate's fucked up. I'd say they're just streaming from Office too. Like they've never really had any issues like that. Yeah, but that wouldn't change that bitrate. I'd say they're being DDoSed rather than the Prime subs being the factor. Be so shit that they're being DDoSed, like fuck off. Also, they would also know where they're streaming from. That's if you haven't spent enough already, like lifetime. I do think that an official channel.
Just
Ooh,
what are we facing here?
are we back? Oh, it has to restart.
Power and tends to harness.
Hi, Tommy.
There are 21 active skills for quarterstaves, so this just scratches the surface of the options that you have. By endgame, you'll be dashing from pack to pack, spewing where you find yourself at the start of POE2. Explore the dark forests of Ogham, traverse the barren plains of the Vesteri Desert, and delve into the jungle ruins of Utsal, an ancient Val city. There are challenging monsters, hidden runes, lost camps and treasures, roaming merchants, and of course, unique bosses. No two areas are the same.
I think
It falls to you to track down the seed of corruption.
The seed of
source all
corruption. Oh my
devastation.
god, it's a seed.
On the
Okay,
way,
that's
you'll
what we
face
saw.
fearsome monsters, meet strange characters, forge unlikely bonds, and uncover lost civilizations. But first, you'll need to
Classes!
pick a class.
You guys ready?
Now, early access will initially have 6 classes available. Let's have a look at them. The Monk is a fast and furious melee fighter. He dashes in and out of combat, and his mechanics involve building up and keeping momentum. Like all classes in POE2, you'll want to use a wide variety of skills to mix and match different combos.
It's
To
so
get new
different.
skills, you will first need to find skill gems.
Yeah.
Using a skill gem will open the gem cutting menu, which shows all the active skills available in
Oh
POE2.
gosh.
You can choose an existing skill to level up, or choose to engrave a
So
new
we
one.
no longer have
Since this
individual
is a
skill
level
gems,
7
we
skill gem,
are using a
even if you pick
currency
new
to
skill,
unlock
it will
them.
immediately be level 7, so there's no harm in trying out something new. The Monk primarily uses the quarterstaff. There are 3 schools of martial arts: lightning, ice, and wind.
Wind!
I don't think you have to stick to just one. The best combos are going to involve mixing elements of all 3. Let's try
Air is
killing
an
palm.
element.
Like many monk skills, this can be used to quickly
That's
take
new,
advantage of
right?
a specific situation. If there's an enemy on low life, you can use Killing Palm to dash to them and kill them instantly. This will provide a power charge. Then we can use a different skill to consume that power charge for a much more devastating attack.
Yeah, we knew about
The
that.
monk also has powerful combo skills. Tempest Bell, for example, is a skill that places a giant resonating bell. Hitting the bell causes it to ring, dealing damage to all enemies around it. You can also do
I
things like
like the
freeze
bell,
or shock
that's
the
so
bell, which will
cool.
add elemental damage to the strikes. The monk also has a variety of abilities to empower his staff.
I think
If an enemy is close to being stunned,
We're
you can use
billions of
staggering
buttons
palm,
in.
punch them down. After that, any attack you do will
but
shoot
the
out
bright
wind
side is you can
projectiles.
WASD to move, so you can only
There are
if you're
21 active
WASDing to
skills for
move, what are you going to be
core
pressing?
states, so
We're
this
going to
just
need like a
scratches the
fucking
surface of the
MMO mouse
options
to
that you
play.
have. By endgame, you'll be dashing from pack to pack, spewing projectiles and obliterating screens of enemies with huge combo attacks.
Yeah, that is true. Only 2 pods.
Now, if you like a style of melee that's a little slower but hits much harder, then
Melee?
the warrior is for you.
Babe, it's a
He pounds
French
the ground
word.
with big chunky
No.
attacks and can shrug off the hits of small enemies with large amounts of
That
armor.
means he said that millions
Even though
of
the mace
times.
slams are
That's
slow, you
wrong.
never lose control. Longer attacks can be retargeted as you go, and if you find yourself committed to a long attack, you can dodge roll out of it at any time.
Oh, we
Among
love
the
that
skill
roll.
option for maces, you will find a variety of slams, fire attacks, war cries, and shield skills. Here, I'm going to slam the ground, rending it apart with lines of fire. Any slam skill will then cause these fissures to erupt with lava. I can even run through them with a skill like Stampede to do huge
I
amounts of
can't
damage.
tell you how few. I don't give a fuck.
The warrior can also use war cries, which can empower your next skill. Seismic Cry, for example, will double
I
any
don't know,
slams from your next
James.
attack.
I think you're gonna have trouble
Stampede
enjoying
counts
this
as a
game
slam,
if you
so
don't
double that,
like
but even more crazy.
intricate combat experiences.
If you want to go a little faster
They've
and be a
been
little more
very
defensive,
excited about
equip a
dodge
shield.
and block for
In
ages.
POE2, you can raise your shield at any time to block all damage from the front, even spells.
Even
While
spells.
holding up your
Ooh,
shield,
cool.
your stun meter will build as you take damage, so be careful. If it reaches 100%, your stance will break and you will be vulnerable. Some enemies also have unblockable attacks, which are indicated
I
by
don't
this
think
red
you're gonna
flag.
get righteous fire.
If you see one of these coming, make sure to dodge out of the way. Using a shield also gives you access to shield skills, like Shield Charge, which allows you to charge towards enemies and stun them. While charging, you're also blocking the whole time, so you have full damage immunity from the front. The warrior also has access to totems. Some totems have built-in abilities, like Shockwave Totem, which can be placed to stun nearby enemies and
Like
trigger
a lot of
aftershocks
it
like
is just
those from
going to
the
be.
earthquake.
We
can
are
also
used
get
to a
ancestral warrior
way
totems,
faster
which allow you
pace
to
of
use any
gameplay,
slam
and
skill
we
in your
don't.
repertoire.
We're not going to have that in this.
This is a meta skill, which means that it's a skill you can put other skills into. I can
Well,
take
you
a
missed
slam
the
like
technical
Sunder and socket
difficulties.
it into my ancestral warrior totem.
Where we
Now when I
theorized
summon
that
them, he'll
the
sit there and
office
slam
was
the
being
monsters from a distance.
DDoSed.
There are 20 active skills for maces, so there's a lot more to try out. But by endgame, you're going to be dropping hammers from the sky, leaping fearlessly into combat, and separating the very earth you stand on.
But honestly, they fixed it pretty quickly. We're looking at
Time for some ranged
classes, and we
attacks.
had a
The
full
ranger is primarily
cinematic
about the
trailer,
bow,
which
but we wanted to make sure that she
introduced
feels
the
agile as well.
origin
In
for
POE2, you
why
can
we're
shoot while
playing.
moving. Combined with all the
Also,
skills the
yeah.
ranger has that allow you to jump around,
so excited
you'll
about
have
Ranger.
a lot of mobility in combat.
I think I'm gonna play Ranger.
Bow skills have a variety of lightning,
I'm
poison,
very
ice,
impressed with
and
that
physical
recovery.
attacks. Lightning attacks bounce around between targets. You can also stick lightning arrows in the ground
Mostly,
that
look at
explode
these
when hit by
boss
the
fights.
bouncers,
Like, they're just
or
gonna be
electrocute
so
enemies to take them out
special.
of combat. Ice attacks allow you to slow and freeze enemies to keep them away from you.
Yeah, no, I'm here for a
Using
Ranger.
poison, not only can you slowly damage your enemies from afar,
Look at
but also grow some
poison!
interesting plants. With 21 bow skills and all the mobility and combo tools the ranger has, you can take advantage of every situation.
I just can't believe you can shoot
By in-game, you'll be
and
creating
walk at
hundreds
the
of
same
arrows, be they
time.
falling from the sky, bouncing around between enemies, or spraying out of tornadoes. You might have noticed in the bottom left of the screen that the flask slots look a little different. In POE2, you have one dedicated life flask slot and one mana flask slot. Flasks gain charges as you kill enemies, and typically allow you to heal 6 or 7 times if they're full. But that's not the only thing you can use charges for. Charms are a new item type that will automatically defend you from various debuffs or damage types. Having trouble with
Interesting.
getting frozen? Equip a Thawing Charm. When it's fully charged, it will make you immune to freeze for 3 seconds if you get frozen. To recharge them, just kill more monsters. You can gain more slots for charms by upgrading your belt.
Okay.
The mercenary wields a crossbow that can be loaded with different
But there's
ammo
more than
types,
one
offering
type.
versatility,
There's more than
power, and
3
mobility.
types of
All
damage,
classes
right?
in Path of Exile 2 can be controlled with WASD, which makes this class play exactly like a shooter. For the crossbow, you will find skills that work like shotguns, sniper rifles, assault rifles, and even grenade launchers. But not only that, there are
I'm a
wide
little
variety
curious
of
about this
interesting
too.
elemental ammos too. It's very fast to switch between ammo types, so long as you already have them loaded, which makes the mercenary able to combo abilities together for devastating effect.
I like his cowl.
Use Glacial Bolt to create walls of ice to separate enemies, then switch to fragmentation rounds to explode the ice, dealing massive AoE damage. If I come across an armored enemy, I could use armor-piercing rounds to break their armor, and then high-velocity rounds to take them down. Or
Bro,
perhaps I could fire a
high-velocity round
gas
looked
grenade
really
to
cool.
poison enemies before detonating the cloud with an explosive shot for massive damage. If you want to call in some suppressing fire, you can summon artillery ballistas. These have a minimum range, so you'll want to prepare your position carefully before moving in. There are
Okay.
22 active skills for crossbows. By endgame, you'll be calling destruction down from the sky as you
it
litter the
just
battlefield
looks
with
so
grenades and
good.
pepper your enemies with your automatic shotgun.
Like, it just
If you're looking to take a back seat and
so
let your minions do the work,
like
then the witch should be your
2024.
choice. She can call forth hordes of undead monsters to fight for her while casting powerful chaos spells that debilitate her enemies.
Who wants to say that
Occult
charms
skills
only
are some of
have
the
like a
most varied in
prefix
the
and a
game,
suffix?
with skeletons, noxious spells, specialty minions, curses, and sacrificial magic. Before we talk about minions, we'll have to talk about a new resource in Path of Exile 2 called Spirit. This is a spirit gem, which allows you to pick from a range of persistent skills. All classes have a variety of these skills which can add some very interesting effects.
So we don't have
like
skill
Arctic
gems
Armor,
anymore.
which does
You
cold
use
damage to
this
enemies that hit
currency
you,
to
or Raging Spirits, which summon fiery skulls each time you cast a fire
specialize,
spell.
basically.
For the Witch, though, we'll want to be using our spirit to create permanent minions. These minions will be revived automatically when they die, so you don't have to worry about resummoning them all the time. Here, I'm using the skill screen to allocate which minions I would like in my horde. You can see the spirit cost of each one. Skeletal warriors are cheap, but weak. Useful for tanking
I
damage and
recognize
distracting
that
enemies.
that
But I want
Scamina
more heavy hitters
is
in my army, so I'm going to unsummon some
a
warriors and instead
hallmark
add
of
skeletal
this
arsonists.
genre.
Permanent minions come with special active abilities called command skills. You can order these guys to detonate your own minions for even more damage and area of effect. If you want a bigger army, you'll need a scepter.
I feel like
This
it was
new weapon
because
type is imbued with even more
skills
spirit,
weren't
allowing you to summon even
in
more
the
friends.
item ethos.
And if you want an even bigger army than that, you can take
of the
advantage
rest
of
of it.
corpses to summon true hordes of minions.
Because the item's more
But
about
what
like
can a witch
weapons
do while
and
her army is
things.
at work? Well, she has a range of chaos spells to spread disease amongst your enemies, or bone skills to impale them. Or, you know, you could curse them to make them weaker so your horde can take them down.
Yeah, so all of the
There are
POE
25
archetypes.
active occult skills. By the endgame, you'll be the leader of a fearsome army of the dead, consuming everything in its path.
Ooh, also we saw like a
The
version of
sorceress
the
bends
Atlas
elements to
tree
her
that
will,
was like
using them to unleash devastation
an
on her
IRL
foes.
map.
This classic spellcaster weaves a flurry of elemental magic from afar.
I want to see them get
The
to endgame,
elemental
but we're
skills
going
have
there.
everything you might expect and more. Fireballs, icy explosions, lightning storms, you get the idea.
Her
Each spell is unique
base
and has many different ways
design
to build and combo with
is
others, even
awesome.
between different elements. For example,
I
Flame
want
Wall
to
conjures a
cosplay
burning
it.
line that not only damages enemies, but also empowers
I want to
all
make the
projectiles
dress.
to pass through it. If you place a wall and fire lightning sparks through it, they'll gain extra fire damage. It's a good idea to take advantage of the ability to automatically swap weapons when you use
Hey,
certain
Calpit.
skills.
We're
Having a
reacting
special
to
staff with
POE
bonuses to
things.
fire skills and another with bonuses to lightning
POE2
skills can really
things
power up
even.
a combo like this. The sorceress can also take
Wait, she
advantage
got
of
green
powerful
hair, or
trigger
is there
techniques.
something in her hair?
For
Please
example,
zoom in.
You could grab the Cast and Ignite
Is it a
gem
crown?
and use it with Firestorm. As you ignite enemies, a counter
Very
will go up in the
excited.
top left corner. When it's full, a Firestorm will automatically be cast at the enemy that was ignited. There are 25 active elemental skills. By endgame, you'll be firing
25.
projectiles left and right as you rain down elemental
Is
storms on your
wind
foes.
an element that she's
Now,
using?
those are the characters that will be available at the start of early
Did they
access. But
say?
we'll be adding 6 more character classes with just as many skills and options as these. There's a lot more to come.
But when?
There's one more important thing to mention about skills. Even though we talk about them as belong to each class, in reality there are no restrictions. You can use all these skills on any class so long as you have the attributes. For example, A poison ranger might want to try out using occult curses to increase her poison damage.
It's like
Or a monk
Diablo.
might want to trigger elemental ice walls to use
But
with
this
his
is their
glacial
new
cascade
one.
combo. The possibilities for cross-class combos are practically
Early
unlimited.
access is
We're
opens
looking
in a
forward to
week.
what kind of things you guys might find. Now, Path of Exile is a game known for build customization, and we haven't even scratched the surface of what is possible yet.
Yeah, so you just use
So let's talk about support
crossbow
gems.
and the bell from something else.
Path of Exile 2 has a system of support gems that can be combined with your active skills to dramatically change the way they work. If you find a support gem, then right-clicking it will open up this screen. Here you will find a variety of recommended support gems for each of your skills that you can pick between. For example, this is a multiple projectiles support gem and can be used to add multiple projectiles to any skill.
I don't know if I like
Normally,
this
when you
UI.
fire a grenade, it'll look like this. But if we add multiple projectiles, then you get 3 of them. Once you have the gem, you can also freely move it between any of the skills in your character. If you want to have a multi-shot sniper rifle instead, then simply move the gem over to your high-velocity round
Oh,
skill.
because it's not socketed
Generally
on this.
speaking, if it sounds like a support gem should work with a skill, then it will work. So it's a good
Yeah,
idea
they're
to
made in New
experiment.
Zealand.
Note that you can only have one of each support gem on your character, so you'll want to think carefully about which supports can be used best with each skill for maximum damage.
Oh,
Now,
because
if
they're
you want
not
to stick
linked
to the
and they're not
recommendations,
coloured.
you
It's
should have a perfectly
this
good
is so
time.
weird.
But if you want to experiment a bit more, then uncheck that recommended
It's so
button and
different.
you can see the full list of supports that will work with your skill.
Oh,
There
okay.
are hundreds of support gems to choose from, and even we don't know the results of all the possible ways these can interact.
Yes, I love that
Each
for
skill
you.
can have up to 5 supports socketed into it. And if you're clever, you can
This
come up with some
game
pretty
is brand
interesting
new.
ideas.
None of us have
Now,
no
all of this
idea.
is just scratching the
Like,
surface. You can
there
make
are
frost vortexes,
traits
break people's armor, make minions
that is
explode,
taking
make
from
skills
its
repeat,
original game.
make enemies set each other on fire, cull enemies, or pin them to the ground. Supports let you drastically change the behavior of your skills and create your own unique build, or at least follow someone's OP build guide. So, speaking of builds, let's talk about one of the most iconic Path of Exile systems, the passive skill tree. Yes, it's
This
huge.
is the thing that will
There
scare
are over
you.
1,500 nodes on there. Now, a lot of people open the tree and can get a little intimidated at first.
Yes.
But try not to be scared. There are lots of options, but at its core, it's pretty simple. Each level, you get 1 point to put into the tree. Each class starts at a different location, but they all share the same tree. Around your section of the tree, you'll find relevant bonuses for your character.
Yeah.
You should be safe in the knowledge that there aren't many wrong choices here. Almost all the starting nodes will be useful for your character in some way.
Yeah.
But if you do happen to make a choice you regret, you'll be able to respec any nodes you've taken by spending a little bit of gold.
No refund, respec.
Now, the tree is
Regret
generally
points
divided up
because
into
it's
clusters
gold.
which have similar themes.
That's good.
In each cluster, you will find small nodes that give simple bonuses like increased damage, but the real power comes from notables. Notables normally have much more interesting bonuses, and they tend to care a lot more about how your build works and what skills you're using. For example, in the mercenary area of the tree, this one gives a 25% chance for crossbow skills to not consume a bolt. And here's one that gives
There's
grenades
gonna be
a
a lot
chance
of
to
build
blow up a
guides.
second time. This one gives a chance for projectiles to rebound off terrain, as well as giving you some pierce chance to make that more likely. Note that even though this is in the mercenary section, this would work with projectiles from all classes, so there are often reasons to go to different areas of the tree. In order to get between these clusters, you will generally have to allocate nodes in the attribute highways.
Oh, they
Attribute
actually
nodes
gave them
allow
a
you to pick
name.
which attribute you would like to use, so it's very easy to get points for any attribute that your gear might need. You can change which attribute these nodes give you for half price at the respec vendor.
This game is free to
In
play,
addition to
but early
notables, you will
access will
also
be
find
available
even larger
to
passives called
people
keystones.
for a
Keystones have
$30
both an
support
upside
pack
and a
or
downside,
a
and often
lifetime
require changing
spend
your
of
entire
something.
build to design around them. A great example is Giant's Blood,
And then it'll be
which
available
allows
to
you
everyone in a
wield
month.
two-hand weapons in a single hand, but doubles the attribute requirements of them. You can use a two-hand mace with a shield, or even dual wield them.
What? No! What?
Or how about Mind Over Matter, which makes all damage go to your mana pool first before your life pool, but you lose 50% of your mana regen. Skills like these can be tough to build around, but if you're up for the challenge, they can be very rewarding.
Oh.
As we
Wait,
showed
were they
you
saying
earlier
that
on
you
the
had to
Sorceress,
get
you can swap between
a
weapon sets on the
keystone
fly
to be able
as
to
you
do
use
that?
certain skills.
Okay.
One of the new features in Path of Exile 2's passive tree is that you can choose to have your passive tree change as you switch between weapon sets to take advantage of specific
Multiple
bonuses
passive
on the tree.
trees. I
For
feel
the
like they talked
sorceress, you
about
might
this
want to
before.
change between fire and lightning specialization. Or you could switch between one hand and a two-hand setup in order to be able to block boss attacks while following up with heavy hits from your bigger mace. Or perhaps you could have a full curse setup on your witch to debuff enemies before switching to a chaos degen build for maximum damage. If you want to stick with just one weapon set, you can just use these specialization points as bonus points to invest however you like. But creative players will find plenty of
But I
opportunities
feel
with
like
this
that
system.
means that you can have
You
a
can
boss
get weapon
that also
specialization points
maps.
throughout the campaign from optional bosses and quests. For example, if I manage to defeat the Crowbell, I'll get a weapon specialization book. There are lots
Wait,
of other permanent boosts
What is a
available
weapon
from the campaign too.
specialization book?
On the map, you can see
The
icons
map
that
is full
indicate the many
screen.
optional encounters you can find. Some of them have permanent character boosts, and others have powerful items. If you're having trouble getting past a boss, it might be a good idea to explore and see what you can find. For example, if you defeat Blackjaw the
potentially.
Remnant, you'll gain a permanent increase to fire resistance. One of the most
But I
important
kinda wanna
finds are
react
spirit
like-
bonuses. You can find the first one here in the canopy in Act 1. Defeat the
Chat
boss in
kind
this
of
area to
knows.
acquire a permanent addition of Spirit. The permanent buffs you gain from Spirit are very powerful, and every class will find a use for them, so make sure you hunt down these upgrades. There's one in each act. Now we haven't even talked about the most important element of character progression, items.
This is
That's
the
why we're all
entire
here, right?
ethos by PoE
Items
is
in Path of
items.
Exile can be broken down into 4 rarity groups: normal, magic, rare, and unique. One of the things you're going to want to do as you play through the campaign is upgrade the items you find, and you can do that with currency items. An Orb of Transmutation will allow you to upgrade a normal item to a magic item with 1 mod. You can then
have
apply
new
an Orb of
designs for the
Augmentation to add a
orbs.
2nd mod, then use a Regal Orb to add a 3rd mod, and upgrade it to a rare.
The X
Finally,
is
you can
pretty.
use some Exalted Orbs to add more mods to your rare to a total of 6 mods.
Are people going to want to do that?
One of the things we think is really important is to make these options available to use as you play. All the
What?
items that add mods are much more common than they were in Path of Exile 1, so that you
Really?
can use them throughout your campaign playthrough. We want you
They
to
want
find
us
these on the ground that can be
gambling.
crafted into upgrades much more frequently.
They want us crafting and
As well as
gambling.
making the drop rates on these items much more common, you can also get them by disenchanting unwanted gear at the magic item vendor. If you disenchant magic items, you can build up to an Orb of Transmutation, and by disenchanting rares, you can build up to Regal Orbs.
Disenchanting.
Another important
Okay.
area of crafting items in POE2 is sockets. Some items you find will have sockets that can have
Oh my
Ezomite
God,
runes
sockets
placed
are
in it
back.
that add more mods to the item. If I insert this glacial rune into my helmet, it will give extra cold resistance.
I feel like it's going to be more
This
like
is a great way
a
to solve problems that you
delve
have with your
belt
build, like
than anything
resistances
else.
or damage. If you find socketed items that you don't have a use for, you can take them to the salvage bench in town to work towards an Artificer's Orb. This will allow you to add sockets to your existing items.
Ooh, so that's
Body
going to be
armors and two-hand
upgraded
weapons
gear.
can have up to 2 sockets, while the
Okay,
rest of your armor
okay.
and one-hand weapons
Okay,
can
so
only
this
have
is
one
kind
socket.
of like,
You can also salvage items with quality to create
not
items like
skill
armor
gems,
scraps or
jewels.
whetstones. These will allow you to increase the quality of your items for an up to 20%
This
boost.
game will suck you in for like years.
If you don't want to
though.
disenchant or salvage your items, you can always sell them for gold. Gold can be used to buy items from vendors, and we've tried to do a lot to make sure that the items they have for sale are actually useful. Every time you level up, they get more stock, so make sure to check back often.
Yeah,
Other
we knew
vendors
about
offer
this.
a gamble. Pay a flat amount of gold and you'll get a random item of a specific type.
They just
This
took
could be a
that
great way to improve your
from
gear, if you're lucky.
fucking.
Gold is also used to respec your passive
Who is
skills.
it in
Take
Expedition
advantage
who
of the
does
system to
that? The
experiment with your
woman?
tree and rework it as required. The other thing you might want to use gold for is the currency exchange. This allows you to exchange currency items with other players on an
That's
open
from
market.
this.
in
That's
exchange
from
for a
this
small
league,
gold fee.
right?
Now, all items in
That's
Path of
why they
Exile are
brought
freely
gold in.
tradable. We never buy
I
anything
love
to your
seeing
character,
all the
except
learnings
gold.
from the different leagues. Ah!
Now, most gear in Path of Exile 2 is randomly generated, but there's another type that isn't. Uniques.
Yeah.
They are especially rare, each with a handcrafted set of unusual mods which can dramatically change a character's build. They're not just better rare items, they can do
Movement
much
speed
stranger
and kill
things that can
hit.
fundamentally change your character.
Until hit again.
Corpse Wade will make any corpses you run through explode into clouds of poison. The Sands of Silk is a body armor that changes your dodge roll
Oh
into
man,
a
they
blink,
had to deny.
morphing
They
you
had
into
to
sand as you
design new
teleport past your
uniques.
foes. And of course, some uniques are just pure hits of dopamine.
Oh no, Quill
like
Rain.
Quill Rain, which just turns your bow
Quill Rain's
attacks
back.
into full auto by doubling your attack speed.
We love Quill Rain.
Each unique is something that you can build your character around. We try to make sure that most unique items have a potential use at endgame, even if you find them early on.
I didn't recognize
And
the
as
other
you can
two.
see,
Were the other
every
two
single
new?
unique item comes with custom art to match.
Oh my god! I want
The
to make
last
so
character
many
progression system that you
cosplays.
can do during the campaign is Ascension. Starting
We
in
saw
Act 2,
some
you'll come across
Ascensions in the
Ascension
trailer.
trials, tests that you must complete to unlock your Ascension class. We'll explain these trials soon, but first let's take a look at what Ascending can do for
No,
your character.
are you telling me the trials are
Each
back? The
class
lab's
has
back.
access
The
to
lab's
3
back.
Ascendancy classes, but at the start of Early Access, only 2 per class will be available.
Oh, okay.
Ascendancy classes are unique to each character class, so choose wisely. They can drastically affect how you build your character.
Well, they had Ascension trees
As
in
a
there.
sorceress, you could become a Stormweaver, a master of the elements.
No, I'm
Tempest
obsessed.
Caller causes elemental storms to be summoned each time you do a critical hit with a spell.
When she ascends,
With Strike twice, you can
this
stack
bitch is
2
in a
copies of
different
Shock for more
outfit. Am
damage.
I
And going
not
deeper
wrong?
into the tree, you can make all your damage types apply Shock. Make a Shock build from any skill.
Why does it?
Alternatively, you could become a Chronomancer and
Oh,
command
costume
time
change!
itself.
Come on!
She literally has
She's
the
got a
ability to stop
book!
time with Time Freeze.
She's got a book.
Not only that, but she has many other time
yelling.
manipulation abilities.
Okay.
Using Temporal
I'm not
Rift,
gonna
she
yell
can
as much.
teleport back to a previous location, resetting her life and mana back to what it
Do you
was.
like mine and Gallus
Or with
and
Time
we
Snap,
seeing
she
in the
can
chat?
reset
It
all
was
her cooldowns
awesome. You
and
guys
cast
did a
all her
really good
spells again.
job.
On the Warrior, you can choose between the
Sorry,
Warbringer
this is
or the
gonna
Titan.
take all my
The
energy
Warbringer
right now.
channels the might of his ancestors to gain tremendous power. Using Answered Call, you can summon ancestral spirits linked to each of your totems. With Jade Heritage, you can encase your body in a
I have to
protective
worry
layer
about.
that
I'm like
absorbs all
above
damage
my
until it
neighbor's
breaks.
bedroom, and they got upset because I was too noisy.
Warcaller's
but I have
Bellow allows you
window
to
shut.
explode the
So
corpses of your
hopefully I'm not
enemies.
too loud.
And with Great Wolf's Howl, you can ignore the cooldowns of your war cries. Let all that anger out.
Let all the anger
The
out.
Titan class is all about hitting big. With Earthbreaker,
Big
every slam has
slammy.
a chance to create an aftershock.
This is Slammy Boy.
With Crushing Impacts, every hit becomes a crushing blow, which will allow you to stun your enemies with ease.
Kinda did
With
Slammy
Surprising
Boy.
Strength, you can take
Bro,
advantage
look
of
at
stunned
this
enemies to
boss.
deal 40% more damage.
He had like a fire hose that did like multiple.
As a ranger, you might choose to be a
elements.
Deadeye, an expert markswoman who can take down foes with style. With
Deadeye's
endless
back,
munitions, every attack
boys.
gains an extra projectile. With Gathering Winds, she gains a small increase to movement speed with every attack.
Oh
But
my
be
god,
careful,
Deadeye's
she loses
dark.
them when getting hit. With Eagle Eyes, she will never miss, allowing you to stop wasting all those passive points on accuracy. Alternatively, you could become a Pathfinder, the master of flasks and poison. She can choose from one of several throwable concoctions, allowing
I
her to
don't
spend her
just
flask
leave me
charges to
alone.
throw
I'm
explosive
excited
bottles
because I
that deal
think
various types
Ranger's
of
gonna
damage.
feel really good and
A
different in
bleeding
this
concoction
game.
will make your enemies bleed, while a fulminating one can shock your enemies, allowing you to do extra damage.
Has Pathfinder always had a shock?
Contagious Contamination allows her to
Specialization?
spread poison
Is that
between
new?
her foes, while Overwhelming Toxicity doubles the number of stacks they can be infected by. Running
the
Assault
Scourge
allows her
arrow
to
could be
move much
good,
more quickly while
if that's
firing,
thing.
while Relentless Pursuit makes her totally immune to being slowed by enemies.
Ooh, immune to slows.
The Witch can ascend into the Infernalist or the Blood Mage. As an Infernalist, she can summon a loyal Hellhound companion. The Hellhound sets enemies on fire, as well as taking a percentage of the damage
Wait,
if
is
the
this the
Infernalist gets hit.
Elementalist?
With Pyromantic Pact, you can turn your mana into Infernal Flame. As you cast more spells, the flame builds up, and if it overflows, you'll take damage.
Ooh, very
Using
cool.
Bringer of Flame,
very
you'll want to make sure
cool.
you keep the flames topped
But
up.
hot.
While your
Actually
Infernal
hot.
Flame
Hot
is
is the
above
word.
30%, all damage from you and your minions will ignite enemies. She can also
Unfortunately,
transform into
we
a literal
have
demon. While in demon form, she takes an increasing amount of damage, but her cast speed and damage increase rapidly as well. So if you're planning on transforming into a demon, make sure you stack a lot of life recovery. She can also become a blood mage, a master of life and energy. All blood mages must pay the price of making skills cost life as well as mana, but in exchange, every monster they kill will
Nice
drop life
aspect.
remnants, which allow them to quickly gain back that life. With Crimson Power, she can gain large amounts of extra life, and with Vitality Siphon, she can use her spells to leech life back as
Bro,
well.
this
Once you've
specialization
got a
looks
significant amount
fucking
of life,
awesome.
you can use Gore Spike to make your critical hits deal incredible amounts of damage. A monk who is in tune with the elements might become an invoker. With Elemental Expression, the Invoker will create waves of elemental power each time he does a critical strike. With Faith as a choice, you gain the ability to meditate, allowing you to double your energy
right
shield.
at the moment where mid-roll is running, but I think because you came...
to specialize in cold or
Are
lightning.
you watching ads too?
And I Shall Rage will allow you to turn into an unbound avatar.
Like maybe you're immune to it? I don't
Each time
know.
you apply a status ailment to an enemy, you gain Unbound Fury. When you have enough, transform into an avatar
I only run
to
ads
deal
every
way more
hour.
damage and inflict even more elemental ailments. Some monks choose to reach into the darkness instead. The Acolyte of Chayula can exchange their mastery of spirit for darkness, a resource that can be utilized to both absorb and deal damage. The Shroud of Darkness will protect you from all damage incoming, but if you take Grasp of the Void, you will deal extra chaos damage from all the darkness you have. Their Dark Pact offers greatly increased resistances to chaos damage and can
It's
allow their mana
Chayula.
range to not only happen instantly, but apply to their energy shield as well.
Ooh, leech.
Another node you can take is Waking Dream, which allows you to see into the domain of the Breach Demons. There you will see the Flames of Chayula that can be taken to gain life, mana, and damage. The Mercenary has a job to do, but which job suits you? You might choose to become a Witch Hunter. Obsessive Rituals will give you a sorcery ward, allowing you to defend yourself against elemental hits in exchange for less defense
I don't know
against
that it
attacks.
works like that.
With Zealous Inquisition, your enemies have a 10% chance to explode on death. The chance is doubled against demons and undead.
Maybe Opera
With
Books and
Judge,
ad.
Jury, and
but
Executioner, your initial hit against enemies can deal up to 30% of their life and damage, if you're lucky.
My experience,
This
Twitch's
is
ads
great
are
for
pretty hard
hunting
to
powerful
block
bosses.
these days.
And with Witchbane, you can break your enemy's concentration, preventing them from casting spells as often as they would usually do. You could also choose to become a Gemling Legionnaire, enhancing your abilities by embedding gems directly in your flesh. Integrated Efficiency will give you extra skill slots. Thermatological Infusion gives you extra maximum resistances as you sock up more and more support gems. Adaptive Capability allows you to use any color of gem without worrying about attributes, while Crystalline Potential adds extra quality bonuses to every gem socketed into your character.
Genuinely can't absorb all
So
of this
those are the ascendancy
information
classes
about
for
the
the start
different
of early
ascendancies.
access.
Like we have to
One
watch
thing we haven't talked
and
about yet
read
is how you
all of
ascend
it
in the
again.
first place. Ascension and Path of Exile
Trials.
2 requires completion of one of the Great Trials,
But
which
they're
you'll
not
find as you progress through the campaign.
Labyrinth.
Each one is associated with one of the major cultures of Rayclast. Located in the Vasteri Plains are the Maraketh, a culture of rich tales and brutal traditions, who must do whatever it takes to survive in the desert. The highest position in Maraketh culture is a Sekima.
We're on a boat.
And it is not a title
No, we're
given
not on a
freely.
boat. The boat is
All
on land.
aspirants must complete the Trial of the Sekimas, a grueling gauntlet that will test their strength, will, cunning, and patience.
So they're
To enter, a warrior of the Maraketh must prove their worth by trapping the soul of a djinn in a coin, and you are no different. Once you have earned your coin, it may be placed in the relic altar to begin the trial.
It is lab. It's just lab. It's just new lab.
In the Trial of the Sekimas, each room has its own challenges to overcome. In this room, each rare monster you kill will send its blood to the chalice in the center of the room. Once the chalice is filled, you will be able to proceed. While fighting monsters in the trial, you will need to be very careful. Each hit will not only hurt you, but will damage your honor. The monsters are well telegraphed, so that you can avoid their attacks, but if you run out of honor, you will fail the trial and need to find another coin in order to try again.
Oh nah.
It is a good idea to make
Why
sure
does
that you
that
are well
feel
prepared
familiar?
before challenging the Trial of the Sekimas.
Is that how Sanctum worked?
After each room, you will be rewarded. In this case, you have been given a key that can be used to unlock chests later in the trial. Once you have claimed your reward, you will be shown a map of the rest of the floor and may choose how you
Oh,
wish
it's
to
fucking
proceed.
Sanctum.
Which challenges would you like to face, and which rewards do you want to claim? Some rooms are more dangerous.
Sanctum is how you
afflicting
get
with debuffs that will
ascendancy now.
persist for the entire trial. For example,
It's
entering this
Sanctum.
room will afflict you with Spiked Shell that will cause all monsters in the rest of the trial to have 50% increased life. You will want to take care if you choose such a path. There are many different challenges and rewards as you journey through the trial. Deadly traps, waves of monsters, and strange artifacts will test your honor. As
The
you progress,
honor
you'll be able to gain
concept, yeah.
boons from the djinn, which will help you on your journey. For example, the Sekima's cloak will revive you once. if
Okay,
you
but on
die,
the bright side,
giving
it
you a
doesn't
second
have
shot at a
random
run.
traps in it.
One of the rewards you may find is Sacred Water, an extremely valuable and treasured resource to the Jinn and the Maraketh. Trading it with
I
the
think
Jinn
they're
will allow
trying
you
to
to receive
make
many
this
benefits.
the like
You can
stuff that you're
recover
doing
honor,
more
gain additional
story
boons,
rooted as
or
well.
remove afflictions. At the end of the floor, you'll find a powerful boss which will truly test your limitations. In order to ascend, you will need to defeat him. Having defeated the boss, you've earned the right to ascend. But first, the loot.
Yeah,
The
boxes.
keys you have found may be used to open the various
Ooh,
treasures in the
different
vault at the end of the floor.
boxes?
We only have a single bronze key, so we'll just have to open one of these small chests. If you want to open the better ones, you'll need silver or gold keys.
How do you get the...
Let's use the Altar of Ascendancy. Your first ascension will allow you to pick your class and grant you 2 points to use in the tree.
That's normal.
Now there are more floors and many more rewards that can be found within the Trial of the Sekimus, but we'll save that for the section on the endgame. For now, let's talk about the second Ascendancy trial, the Trial of Chaos. In Path of Exile 2, you can choose whichever trial you like to earn your ascension. Each culture on Rayclast had their own methods to ascend. If the Trial of the Sekimus is not your kind of playstyle, or you're finding it too difficult, you could try another. You can gain all your ascension points for just one, or mix and match them. It's up to you.
You can just do
For
the,
early
the
access,
one
we'll
trial
have
that
2
you
trials
like.
of options, with a 3rd trial coming later for
How
the
does
full
Sue
release.
feel about this?
While exploring the Vaal jungle, you'll discover the Temple of Chaos. Before the Vaal embraced the
That's
science of
very
corruption,
nice of them.
their civilization worshipped chaos. This ancient trial was once used by the Vaal to test their high priests. A high priest of the Vaal must show willingness to risk everything to gain power. Entry to the trial requires a
That
token from a
is the
strange
trial
entity
master.
known only as the
That's
trial
the
master.
That's trial master.
For those in which he sees potential, he shall inscribe an ultimatum. Many have attempted these
He's
trials in search of
back!
greatness. Most have perished. Will you be able to defy the odds? Before you begin each chamber, the trial master will offer you a reward and a choice.
Yeah.
Choose one of 3 tribulations to affect you through the rest of the trial. These modifiers might beef up the monsters, curse the player, or add environmental hazards like turrets or trap runes. In this case, we'll be picking shocking turrets.
Shocking turrets. Are we
As
back?
you enter the room, the trial master will fill it with hazards
in
to
lab?
test your commitment. In this case, you must destroy all the monsters that fill the room,
This
while
is-
dealing with the lightning
this
projectiles
is-
from the shocking turrets.
Kind of lab. They're not that close together though. What if you're shock immune? Like, does it matter? You just pick the one that you're immune to. I guess they got so much flack from lab being the only
After
way
each
to
room, you'll need
ascend,
to make
and
a
now they
choice.
just give you
Take the rewards
whatever
you've earned so
ascendance
far,
that you
or go
want.
double or nothing. Increase your rewards, but take on more risk.
Man, everyone's gonna love ulti
Each
to
tribulation you add is
ascend.
minor on its own, but they quickly stack on top of each other and can become overwhelming. There are many types of chambers in the trial. Each will
I
test
don't
your
know
resolve
if
in different
Argos
ways.
is still around. I
This one simply
wonder,
requires
like,
you
what
survive
happens
for a
to the
certain amount of
old
time.
law.
Another requires you to escort the stone idol through the level as elevators full of monsters descend to attack you.
This is so
Should
old
you be
school
able to get
POE.
through the first 3 chambers, you will face your first boss.
Okay, the
The order
giant
of the bosses
bird
is
looks
random, and
awesome.
combined with the tribulations you have selected, the fight will never feel the same.
In like a terrifying, it's
After
ribcage
defeating
kind
the
of way.
boss, you may claim your rewards. Of course, there are the items, but you also gain the right to ascend. If you already
Yay.
did the Trial of the Sekimus, then you can claim 2 more points to add to your Ascendancy class. Now, it's possible to go much deeper. There are more bosses, rewards, and risks to take, but we'll talk more about that when we get to endgame. So how about we talk about that now? So far, we've only been showing you footage from the campaign, but some people would argue that the endgame is where the game truly begins.
So we saw
Something that
he
happens
showed
almost
that
every time a new action
there's
RPG
3
launches is
acts
people
in
saying,
Endgame.
there isn't enough in-game content.
because he
Well,
showed a
we
world
want to make
map
sure
in
that
the
with POE2, people don't
earlier
feel that
footage,
way.
which had 3
And we
acts
actually
there.
only changed our development priority for this recently. The first 3 acts of POE2 already take around 25 hours to complete if you're a new player. This is already a pretty significant campaign. On the other hand, people spend hundreds of hours in endgame each league.
It do be
We
true.
realized that finishing the rest of the campaign for early access was actually a bad idea. Instead of having acts 4 to 6 in early access, we could concentrate on endgame and make that great.
Oh, people.
For
Okay,
new
that's gonna
players,
sell
a 25-hour
people.
campaign is already a huge game with lots of
That's
content.
gonna sell
But for existing
people.
action RPG players, what you mostly care about is all the in-game challenges to overcome. So several months ago, we switched the entire development team's focus over to making in-game content.
This is why they
At the
pushed
start of
it.
early access, there will be 50 bosses and around 400 monster types. But the great thing is that the rest of the game is like 80% there. We'll be adding content to roughly double the size of the game during early access and into release. Now, in order to make the endgame happen at the same character level as what it would be after we added the rest of the acts, we've added a second difficulty level called Cruel, where you repeat the campaign with all the monsters and bosses leveled up. And of course, new rewards. You can kind of think of it as like a new game plus. It's also a lot faster to get through the content the second time as your player speed increases.
That's so Diablo 2.
That will take you to around level
That's like
65, where the endgame begins.
POE,
Once we add the remaining 3 acts, we'll be removing the
POE
crawl
1.
difficulty, so you'll progress straight from the end of Act 6 to endgame. But what is the endgame? To explain that, I'll hand over to Mark.
I was wondering if
He
they
can
would
tell
just
all
jump
about
you,
it.
but actually that makes sense.
Hi,
This is very
I'm
like
Mark Roberts,
typical
game
ARPG.
director on Path of Exile 2. Well, one thing that Path of Exile is known for is having a lot
Hey,
of
Mark.
distinct in-game content to choose between. Each in-game mechanic needs to have its own progression system, areas, bosses, rewards, and player power that can only be gained from that content. We are
The
going to be
angle of
adding
his
a
mic
lot
is
more over
bothering
time,
me.
but for Path of Exile 2, we decided to start with 7 distinct systems you can progress through.
This is the Atlas, and it serves as the core of the endgame for Path of Exile 2. It's
Look at
infinite
that
and
Atlas.
expands in
It's-
all directions.
It's infinite.
Now, we are not going to spoil the plot too much here, but
It's
corruption from the
infinite.
beast has blighted the land, and your objective is to help fight it.
It's infinite.
In the center of the Atlas, you will find the Ziggurat, a temple in which the Val research the fundamentals of space and time. Here, we can open portals to nearby locations and begin cleansing corruption and finding resources. In order to power the portal device, we will need waystones.
Okay.
Each waystone has a tier, which will determine the level of the monsters that you will face.
Okay, he said tier,
To
not
go
tear.
to an area, simply click one that is adjacent to an area that you have already completed. Insert the waystone and click Traverse. Portals will open, allowing you and your party to travel to the area you have selected. All the areas in the endgame feel distinct from the locations in the campaign, and we have dialed the randomization up to 11.
Did he just
The monster
flicker?
packs you will face in each map are totally random, and the combination of them can lead to some very interesting combat situations. There are over 400 monster types in early access, and they have a lot of varied and interesting abilities. Depending on which combinations you face, you might find some serious challenges.
No, waystones
In order to cleanse
are
the
the
corruption from
currency
the area,
you
you will need to defeat
access
all the
maps
powerful,
with.
rare, and unique enemies in it. Once you have done that, the area will be marked as completed, and you will be able to travel past it to progress deeper into the world.
It means
If
that you
die,
don't
then the
need
map
a
can
specific
no longer be
map
run,
to
and you will have
complete
to
that
find another way
tier, but there
around
are
to get to the areas
multiple
behind it.
areas
There
in
are
that
also
tier, I
all
think.
kinds of other random encounters you might run into as you
Ooh,
play
a
maps.
shrine.
One such encounter are precursor artifacts. These are ancient, corrupting monuments that irradiate the monsters around them. The monsters that feed off the corruption are drawn to their power. If you defeat the monsters and cleanse the artifact,
Shrine
you will get a
feels like
powerful
Arch
temporary buff.
Nemesis,
Some of the
and
buffs
Shrine
make you
had a
faster,
baby.
others rain lightning or fire around you, and some even give you increased experience or help you find better items. You can also
Shrine
find
2.0.
strong boxes. These enigmatic chests guard piles of treasure,
Strong
but are always a
boxes.
trap. Monsters lie in wait to attack you the moment you open it, and the boxes often have mechanisms to unleash powerful spells or dangerous debuffs. There are different types of strong boxes containing
Blight
different
doesn't
items, and you can
radiate
even use your
in the
currency
same
items to
way.
craft them on the fly, so you can optimize the contents. But be careful of opening one you can't handle.
I assume that strong boxes work the same way that they always have. You gotta kill everything before you can have what's inside it.
Sometimes you'll discover monsters frozen in essences, solidified crystalline corruption. These dangerous monsters can be broken free. If you defeat
Essence
them,
is back,
the
it
essence
just
they
looks
drop
different.
can be used to upgrade
Okay,
normal
it's
items
really
to
cool
magic
seeing
items with a
old-
guaranteed mod from a category.
Old content with a...
For example, we could use this one on some boots to ensure a movement speed mod. Rarely, essences will also drop that allow you to upgrade magics to rares, adding the guaranteed mod.
Beautiful. I was thinking it would work slightly differently because you'd have to set up the new mods.
This is incredibly powerful since it allows you to get a second deterministic mod in your crafting projects. Combining these with the currencies
Here's
that
our
are commonly
essence
found in
crafting. You
Raycross
can
for
add
modifying
them.
items, and we
Oh no,
can
was
get
that
a
in
very nice pair
Excel?
of boots indeed. Waystones, like all items, can also be crafted using your currency items.
Intriguing. So you craft the
Adding
currency.
prefix mods will improve the rewards, while suffix mods increase danger. The more
You can
dangerous
use
a map
currency to
is,
craft
the more
currency.
waystones will drop.
In my head,
Adding mods
waystones
to your
are a
waystones is
currency.
key to progressing to higher tiers and sustaining them, but it will require you to take on larger challenges. There are a variety of factors you'll have to consider when crafting your waystones. Some maps will have higher density, some lower, some have more magic and rare chests, or monsters, some are more linear, and others more open. Make sure you explore and think about what makes certain maps good if you want to maximize your returns. As you cleanse corruption from higher and higher tiers of the Atlas, you will gain points that you can spend in the Atlas tree. This tree allows you to juice the danger and rewards of all areas in the endgame. You could increase the number of monsters, the number of rares, the number of precursor artifacts or
passive back.
strongboxes, even the quantity of item drops. As you explore the in-game world map, you'll notice various different biomes. From snow-capped
I don't know if I'm
mountains
gonna
to
like this
dense
point of
jungle
view on
valleys.
the
Most
in-game
maps are
world map.
restricted to certain biomes. As you continue to explore deeper into the Atlas, there are all sorts of things to discover. These cities are constructed by different peoples of Raycross and have specific items that can be found there. These strange structures marked on the map don't appear to do anything for now. Perhaps you'll work out how to use them later. You might find unique maps like Untainted Paradise, an undisturbed island full of beasts that give an extreme amount of experience. You may even find a lonely man just enjoying his retirement who will give you a unique item for free. In addition, you can find special areas that would make a good spot to set up camp. Clear these areas of their hostile inhabitants, and you'll be able to claim them as your own hideout. You can decorate your hideout as you see fit and invite various NPCs to join you there to create your own personal base of operations.
So early in the morning.
A great tool for exploration are towers. These mysterious precursor constructs are dotted around the Atlas. Completing the tower will
I see
reveal a
why
large
it's
area
in
around
this
it,
point of view.
allowing
You're
you to
not meant to
scout
be able to
out
have
your
a
next challenge.
large
There
perspective.
are lots of things to find, so keep looking. Some sections of your Atlas are influenced by corruption. This adds extra modifiers to the maps in the region, increasing
It feels
difficulty
so much
and
more
rewards.
interactive
Here,
than just
slaying
run a
monsters in
map,
close
run
proximity
another
to
map,
each other will
run
cause the
another map.
vestiges of corruption within them to merge together,
It
forming
almost-
powerful and grotesque abominations.
Also,
You may
kind
have
of
noticed while
reminds
looking
me
at
of
the
the earlier
Atlas that some
versions
of the
of
areas
Atlas.
have these icons above them. The icon indicates that the area contains some kind of special encounter. This icon indicates that the area has a powerful boss. Because only 1 in 4 maps contain a map boss, we are able to make them very powerful and very rewarding. These bosses come from the campaign, but have had their difficulty increased with changes to AI and some of their abilities. It's worth noting that because you can see where the bosses are, you can choose to take them on or avoid them. If you do choose to hunt bosses though, then you will be rewarded with special points for the boss hunting section of the Atlas skill tree. The points here will allow you to specialize in boss killing, giving you much greater rewards for defeating them. For each different type of content in the endgame, we are adding specialized trees in order to make it so you don't feel the
I don't
need
think
to
the
respec
tree's
your
that little
points
and
when you
disappointing,
change between
sweetie.
different types of content. We will be showing you
They're
7
giving
of
you a
these by the
tree
end of this
just for what you
presentation,
wanna
so there is
do.
still a lot more to come.
Instead
Bosses
of
are not
one
the only
tree that
icon
you
will
gotta
see on the Atlas.
choose
Let's take a look at one of the
stuff
in-game
from.
systems, Breach. If you played POE1, you might be familiar with
POE
Breach.
is about
For
trees.
POE2, we have created sequels to several POE1 leagues. While the mechanic is familiar, the monsters, bosses, rewards,
That's what I
and
said when they
progression are
introduced the
all new.
Atlas passive
A breach
tree.
is a tear in the fabric of reality. Opening it will allow you to see the demons and otherworldly monstrosities that lie in wait on this other plane of existence.
It's
By
Breach.
engaging with a breach, you'll create a bridge between their world and Raycross. In order to keep the breach open, you will need to kill the demons that pour
It's
forth.
funny hearing
The
old
faster you can kill
content
the
explained
monsters,
for people
the more
who've never
monsters
played.
you will fight, and the more loot you will find. You can also find clasped hands that will open and drop more items if you run over them.
Yay!
These can be a good boost to the rewards of the breach, so keep an eye out. One of the rewards that you may find while fighting monsters from Breach are tablets. Tablets are special items that can be used with precursor towers to add more encounters to the Atlas. Breaches will drop breach tablets. Clicking on a
I
completed
don't think
tower
I
will
didn't
allow you to
expect
consume
it.
the
It's
tablet
just
to add more breaches
it's
to
weird
areas
seeing
within
it in
range
the
of tower.
context.
This makes all the content in the Atlas self-sustaining. Want to do more breaches? Find the tablets, add them to your towers.
No,
get more
I
breaches,
actually
getting
love
more
seeing
tablets.
them
Soon, your Atlas will be
reimagine
covered in
how they
otherworldly domains.
appear in
In addition,
POE2.
like all items in PoE, you can craft them. Use your currency to add mods to your tablets, allowing you
So
to
we're not
upgrade
using
all the
breach
breaches
stones,
in
we have breach
range.
tablets.
Tablets can have up to 2 mods. These mods do things like
I wonder
adding
if there are
extra
other
rare
types of
monsters,
tablets.
extra clasped hands, or even mods to density of breaches, allowing you to keep them open longer. Often, you will find multiple towers near to each other with overlapping areas of effect. This can allow you to really juice the mechanic by stacking the mods from multiple tablets. In your fight to hold the breach demons at bay, you may want to use the powers of their world against them. Each in-game mechanic always has player power that can only be gained from that mechanic, and Breach is no different. In Breach, you will find catalysts, items that can increase the quality of rings and amulets by improving specific mobs.
Catalysts
You can
are
also find
the
Breach
same.
rings, a special base type that can have its quality improved by catalysts up to 50%. In this case, you could create a ring with around 170 life. Breach rings can become some of the strongest rings in the game, giving you some good motivation to face the demon hordes. In addition, each endgame mechanic needs to have a pinnacle endgame encounter. While killing breach monsters, you may find breach splinters. Collect enough of these and you'll be able to create a breach stone.
Pinnacle's back.
Using a vile technology called the Realm Gate, you can use your breach stone to access their domain and bring the fight to them. In this twisted domain, you will find nothing but a single massive breach.
different?
Triggering it will reveal hordes of breach inhabitants.
We just flickered,
And
didn't
should
we?
you be fast enough, you will be able to fight their leader, Zesht. We that are one.
We that are one. They're giving us an endgame boss. These are different. Look at the wings that are hands. That is so breach. That's so breach. I can't. I think there should be more hands. There are more hands.
This is just one of the pinnacle encounters of POE2. We won't be showing the rest of them, so you will have to discover them for yourself.
Okay, so
But rest
this you
assured,
just give us this
is
one.
some of the hardest
Yeah,
content
I was
we've
like,
ever
why
made.
are you showing
all
us
these
this?
encounters have specific uniques that can only be found from them, but that's not all. We still
Oh, good,
have the
chaseable
progression
uniques.
system. Defeating Zesht will give you points to allocate into the breach section of the Atlas tree.
Okay,
Allocating these
okay,
points
I
will
actually
make
like
breaches
this better.
and the breach domain even harder, but will give you more rewards. The small nodes will increase the difficulty of the twisted domain, while the large nodes have more specific bonuses. For example,
I don't
this
feel
node adds more
as
clasped hands to your breaches,
paralyzed
and adds a
because
pack
it's
of
not
magic
one
monsters that can
big
guard
tree.
them. Get some more points and you can allocate Waking Nightmare, which will double the number of
It's sort
splinters
of
you
why
get
I
from
liked,
past
like, the
attacks,
earlier version
and
of
inflict you with
passives
a
in
mysterious
Atlas.
debuff. In order to earn more points, you will need to defeat Zesht at a higher difficulty, and
Of
some
course.
rewards from Zesht can only be found by increasing the difficulty of the Twisted Domain above certain thresholds. Defeating Zesht at difficulty 4 will be a challenge indeed, but there are many more threats in Ray class.
You have died.
Ritual altars are sacrificial sites built by the mysterious King in the Mists. If you encounter this symbol on the Atlas, then you know that the area contains ritual altars. Ritual altars demand tribute. Every monster you slaughter in the circle will feed the altar. After the sacrifice, touch it to begin the ritual. The monsters you just killed will be resurrected by the King
I
of
mean,
the
that's
Mist's
always been the
dark
place.
magic,
It's kind of
and
the
you must
mechanic
fight
that they
to
have
survive.
now. It's kill a pinnacle boss.
The tribute you have offered to the altar can be spent to buy powerful items.
Is it a
but
waystone?
They can be expensive. To gain more
Upgrades the
tribute,
tier
you
of
will want to
everything.
find more altars.
All waystones,
Each
everything's
successive
upgraded.
ritual you do within an area will spawn the monsters revived by the previous
Voidstones.
ones, in addition to the ones you sacrifice next to it. By the end of an
Waystones
area,
was
you'll
the
be
old
fighting
way.
a truly imposing number of foes, but will have a significant amount of tribute to spend. One of the rewards you can buy with tribute are omens. These are special items that allow for metacrafting. Crafting items that affect other crafting items.
I need
Have
you
an
guys
item
to
with good
know
prefixes but
that
bad suffixes. This omen will
we've
help
been
you to remove the
streaming,
mod you don't want
and I
while
can't
keeping the
leave,
ones you
but
do.
I really
there
need
are
a
a bunch
toilet
more of these
break.
with different effects, but we will leave them for you to discover. Now don't forget that Ritual will also drop tablets which can be used to specialize into getting more rituals. If you want to get to the pinnacle boss of Ritual, then you will probably want to use them. They can
There's
also
that
be
pinnacle
crafted to
boss
grant
in
mods,
Ritual?
making your rituals more rewarding. The pinnacle encounter of Ritual is the King in the Mists. Feared by the Asmeri people, he is said to have brought eternal darkness to the Wildwood. We won't
Ritual
show
gets
the
a boss
encounter,
now?
but just like Breach, there are a range of unique items you can get for defeating him, and you will gain points in the Ritual section of the Atlas tree.
It's like they're finishing
Some
the
maps have been
content.
touched by insanity. A mysterious entity has taken a special interest in you. Step through the looking glass and you will find your nightmares coming to life.
I love
When you touch a
Delirium's
mirror,
content.
the mists of delirium will
Please tell
spread
me he's
out
gonna
across the
talk.
area, infecting your mind. You must stay within the mist to maintain the nightmare, which is as profitable as it is terrifying. Everything you kill will increase the rewards that drop. However, the deeper into the mist you travel, the stronger the monsters are. Be careful not to overstay your welcome. Rare and unique enemies will become vessels for terrifying demons, who will manifest out of them to unleash powerful attacks on you. The mist also offers a strange crafting material, distilled emotions. By combining these emotions, you are able to instill your amulets with a notable from the passive skill tree. This is like gaining an extra passive point for free, attached to your gear. They are also particularly great because you don't have to traverse the tree to get them, allowing you to get off-class bonuses that
What
would
was
normally
this
be much
based
harder to
on?
get. Distilled emotions can also be used to instill your endgame maps, applying Delirious to them and adding additional difficulty and rewards, allowing you to further juice your endgame maps. The tablets you can find from Deliria can be used to further improve it, increase pack size, make the fog dissipate slower, or improve your progress towards the pinnacle encounter of Delirium. Speaking of which, every now and then you will find simulacrum splinters. The mysterious entity will create strange encounters based on warped versions of your own memories. Monsters and simulacrums come in waves that get progressively more difficult. You will receive loot at the end of each wave, and you will have to make the decision to leave now or continue on, facing up against even tougher foes from the mist. The bosses you will face as you get deeper into a simulacrum are truly terrifying. If you can complete a simulacrum, you will gain points for the Delirium section of the Atlas skill tree. Next up, we have Expedition. Occasionally, while clearing corruption, you will encounter these Kalguran settlers. The Kalgurans have discovered ancient burial sites with lost Verisium artifacts, and they want you to help dig them up with explosives. The Kalgurans have marked the locations where the relics can be found. Place explosives as best you can to dig up as many as possible. There is just one problem. Corruption has brought the corpses of their ancestors to life, so you might have to do a little cleanup before you can reclaim the artifacts. You can also find remnants, the destruction of which will further anger the restless dead. Each one you blow up will make the subsequent monsters more powerful, but also more rewarding. Danig, Rog, Tujin, and Gwenin will exchange the artifacts for useful items and runic magic. You can also find tablets to increase the number of expeditions and the rewards.
So wait, we have a week until this is available, or is it 2 weeks?
While this one increases the number of remnants you will find. Eventually, you might discover a logbook. These are special maps full of buried treasure and relics. Essentially, one giant dig site.
Good, my essay's due before it.
Here, you can create an
extremely
long chain of explosives
I'm
and
so
go through
ready.
a very high number of remnants.
Oh,
but be careful.
that's so
Many
good.
remnants have mods that can really brick your build, so you will probably want to avoid these ones. If you add too many remnants, you could easily make the encounter harder than you can handle. There are all sorts of interesting things buried under the ground in logbooks. You might find dripping caves.
Nah,
and
man,
hidden
they've been
pirate
saying
caches,
that
but the
the
most powerful encounter
announcement
is
would
Olroth, the
be like
ancient undead
1 to 2
commander
weeks,
of
and
the
then
Knights of the Sun.
you'd know when it
Defeating
was
him will
available.
grant you unique rewards, as well as points to spend in the expedition section of the Atlas tree. So those are the endgame systems on the Atlas, but we are not done yet. The trials we talked about earlier have much more content when you get to endgame 2. Just like the other endgame systems, they also have progression mechanics, unique rewards, and player power that can only be gained from them. As you get higher level points for the trial of the Sycamores, you will unlock more floors to explore. Each floor has its own challenging rooms and
I
a
think
floor
they need
boss
to
that you will
keep
need to kill.
the date in the corner somewhere so that you can be like, We've been watching this video for an hour.
There are 4 floors in total, leading to another pinnacle boss at the end of the last floor, which can only be accessed at endgame. The Trial of the Sekimers is where you'll find jewels,
Dude,
which you can socket into
the
your tree.
vibe is that you
These
just
are like
want to be
castles that you can
unhappy
craft with your
with
currency
what's
items.
happening
They
here.
can be really
It's
powerful
taken 5
as they allow you to
years to
stack
get this
modifiers
game.
that may not be easily accessible on the tree normally. This jewel gives lightning damage and shock chance, for example. There are
They
quite a
wanted
few
it
jewel
to be
sockets on the
available
tree,
earlier,
so
but
it's
it still
possible to
would have
gain a lot
always
of
been
power
a wait between
There are also
the,
other types of jewels that don't
the video
provide any
live
bonuses
stream
themselves,
announcement and the
but
actual
affect other passives surrounding them. This jewel
thing.
increases the effect of small nodes in radius by 25%. With careful placement in the tree, you could get a significant amount of power from it. There are also unique jewels available with very interesting effects, but you will have to find those for yourself. In order to push further into the trial and uncover the secrets of the Marraketh, you will want to take advantage of its progression system, relics. Relics are items that can be
what
placed
is
in the
that?
relic altar as you
The
start
special
the trial.
type of
They give special bonuses that affect the
skills
trial,
that you get, like
making it
simulacrum.
easier and increasing its rewards. Of course, you can craft these with your currency items, making them even stronger. If you can complete the entire trial overcoming all 4 floors, the final boss will reward you with one of many unique relics. These relics will be consumed when used on your next run, but can reward you with unique and powerful items. For example, this is the Last Flame. If you use it, you will have only 1 honor for the entire trial, so you will need to do a completely hitless run.
I'm just saying, like, their marketing
The
schedule
Trial
is
of
usually
Chaos also extends into
a bunch
the
of
endgame.
hype,
As you gain
a
inscribed
live
ultimatums
stream,
of higher
and then
higher
depending
levels,
on
the number of
the
chambers that
importance
you
of
can
what
go
they're
through
announcing,
increases.
it's either
In true Val
1 to 2
style,
weeks.
This allows you to take
This
even
would
more
always be a
risks
2-week
for even
lead
more
time.
rewards.
1
At
week is
endgame,
like a
you can
normal
progress through
league
up
one.
to 10 chambers with 3 bosses on a
But a
single
proper
run.
expansion is
Stacking 10
usually 2
tribulations
weeks.
on top of each other will make this a significant challenge, but it's worth it. The Trial Master will tempt you with items of the Val Empire, such as Val Orbs. Val Orbs are powerful crafting items that corrupt your gear with random mysterious outcomes. Corruption prevents an item from being modified further, so it has to be the last step of your craft. But it's also the most impactful one. For example, if you use one on your body armor,
This
it
is
might add a
Val.
new powerful enchantment, or it might re-roll up to half of its modifiers. Val Orbs also have the ability to add a socket, allowing you to bypass the normal restriction of how many sockets an item can have. A body armor could get up to 3 sockets this way, allowing for a significant number of mods. Val Orbs can even modify uniques. Adding enchantments or sockets to uniques can make them incredibly powerful, but there is a good chance that you will break them as well.
Man, there's so
The
many
Trial
things
Master
to
will
unpack.
also occasionally offer you soul cores. Originally formed by Chaos, the Val sought to replicate soul cores through human sacrifice rituals
talking about
and
Val,
blood magic
and you're
to
getting
power
Val
their
Orbs.
civilization. Soul cores are powerful socketable items, with mods that cannot be obtained from regular runes. Like all endgame content, there is of course a pinnacle boss. The final chamber will drop keys to this mysterious door.
Yeah, I'm
Some
like-
say this is where the Trial Master himself resides.
I don't know if we'll
Perhaps you are
unpack
willing
a
to
lot
take the
of
risk
this
to find out.
today.
Had enough yet?
No,
Because there is still just
I
one
have to
more thing.
pee,
The
Mark.
most difficult content in Path of Exile 2. While mapping, you might come across this fortress that has emerged from underground, surrounded by an enormous maze
Man,
riddled
GGG
with danger.
spoilers.
Is the maze preventing something from getting in, or something getting out? This fortress is of ancient origin, and its construction has similarities to the towers and tablets that you have been using on your journey through the endgame. It is clear from the entrance that there are 3 keys required to enter. Local factions are vying for access to the fortress in order to seize the power they believe
are these
will be
the
inside.
base
Each
pinnacle
of the
bosses?
faction's leaders have managed to get their hands on one of the keys, so you will need to defeat them. Each faction is led by an Uber Act boss. You can
Oh
see
my
one
God,
of them inhabiting the city,
factions.
but in order to fight him, you will first need to defeat their 2 lieutenants in the adjacent zones. Be careful. If you fail against either of the lieutenants, or to kill the leader, they will move on, and you will need to find them again. Kill all the Uber bosses and you will gain access to the fortress. We aren't going to spoil it, as we can't wait to see you guys attempt it for the first time. But is there a tree you get points in after killing it? Of course there is. This is Path of Exile. There's always another tree.
There's a tree
So
for
these are your
everything.
challenges
Part of
for
Exile
POE2.
2 is the
As you can
forest.
see, this project is crazy huge. Way bigger than even we expected when we started out. But how do you gain access? Well, during early access, you'll need a key to get in. To thank our existing POE supporters who have spent more than $480 US, we'll be giving
Bro,
you
we're
guys a key
in!
for the PC version
We
for free.
in!
Anyone else who wants one can get one by
480
purchasing one of
US.
the new early access supporter packs that have just been released to the store. If
But
you
I'm
just
buying
want
a
early
support pack
access
anyway,
to
I love
POE2,
these boys.
then you can get a key in the $30 US early access pack. The pack also comes with $30 of points to spend in the MTX store.
Okay, but give me.
But we also have a variety of other
merch.
supporter packs filled with exclusive
Where's the
microtransactions,
merch?
points to spend in the store, and even physical items. The cosmetics can be used right now in POE1 and in Path of Exile 2
I'm
when early
wearing
access
that.
starts. Most of this footage has
Am
been
I wearing
recorded in
that?
Path of Exile 1, since that's where you can use them immediately. The Lord of Ogham supporter pack contains a cosmetic armor set befitting of the Count of Ogham himself. There is also a matching back attachment, which has an alternate variant depicting the
Christ,
influence of
look at the-
corruption.
Oh, look at the
Also in this
detail.
pack, you can find a portal formed of the rusted armor of the fallen soldiers in the Red
It
Veil of
looks
Ogham,
so pretty.
and the offspring of a vicious crowbell boss found in the hunting grounds. This one doesn't look so vicious though.
It's like Pogs, but Path of Exile. Is that a Pog?
On
That's
top
a
of
Path
that,
of
you'll
Exile
receive the Iron
Pog.
Count's Zweihander to apply to your one-handed or two-handed swords. For those who are wanting to decorate your hideouts with fond memories and tales of Path of Exile's history,
Babes,
you'll also
no
get a series of hideout
microtransactions
statues.
for my hideouts. Never
This
gonna be a
pack
thing.
contains the statue of Hillock. For Path of Exile 1's closed beta, each pack contained a true New Zealand icon, the Kiwi. Following this tradition, all packs in this series will also contain a new themed Kiwi pet. The pet will loyally follow you into battle, but run away at the first sign of trouble. Become the ruler of the desert with the King of the Faradin supporter pack. Show your mastery of traversing the sands of the Vasteri Plains.
That is so
The
unique.
body armor will allow you to glide along the ground with ancient
You
sand
can
magic.
okay,
Now,
they've
each
been
armor set comes with
experimenting with
body
the
armor, boots,
microtransactions so
gloves,
that they
and
have like
helmet.
more
But the
interactive
boots are
video,
covered in
not
sand.
just appearances.
If you prefer to show them
and
off,
love
you can
seeing it
turn
in
the gliding off if
POE2,
you
and I
want.
can see like why it started happening in POE1.
The accompanying back attachment equips you with two powerful pillars that can control and manipulate lightning. They will
Kiwi are
periodically
very,
release
very,
their energy in
very,
a powerful blast while in town, and hover in a
limited.
circle around you, arcing lightning between them, forming a barrier of energy.
That looks so pretty.
Replace the appearance of any bow with the Faradin's Glory skin. Or replace the appearance of a spear with the
I
Tyranny's
hope none
End
of this
spear
stuff
skin.
has clipping.
This spear skin can be applied to staves and war staves in Path of Exile 1. If you want to truly show your worth as a king of the Faradin, then you definitely need
right,
your
our
trusty
packs are,
moving
like,
entire
transferable.
city fortress known as the Dreadnought to travel across the Vasteri Plains. In Path of Exile, you can decorate your hideout however you like, and it's no exception here. It
Wait,
comes
so
with a
is
variety
this our
of thematic
hideout?
elements to use, or use decorations from elsewhere in the game. Additionally,
Is this
you'll
every
get the
hideout?
Deshret's Blessing level up effect.
A hideout. That's a specific map's hideout.
The King of the Faradin Kiwi pet. And last but not least, a statue depicting the Vile Oversoul from Path of Exile 1. For those who don't know how supporter packs work, each pack comes with all of the cosmetics from the previous tier, so you'll get all the items from the Lord of Ogham supporter pack as well. The Thaumaturge of the Vile supporter pack features an
Fuck
armor set
yes,
and
I
back
wanna
attachment
wear
themed
her.
around the Vile and their pursuit of science and progress. You can find the Soul Core weapon effect in this pack, which
Okay,
causes
it is
thaumaturgic
clipping, though.
energy harnessed from sacrifice to spill from your weapon. This pack
It's
also
clipping
contains Doryani's
twice.
Idol. It replaces the default appearance of any foci to an ancient relic once used by Doryani, and this can be applied to shields in Path of Exile 1. That's not the only Vile weapon you'll find. It also contains the Wand of the
Stop doing
Thaumaturge
the
skin
clipping!
and the Royal Sacrifice Dagger skin. You wouldn't think to put sacrificial gems on a Kiwi, but the Vile did. Thaumaturge of the Vile supporters will receive the Thaumaturge of the Vile Kiwi pet. And the
Okay, it's
Statue of
kinda
Dominus.
cute that the pet
This is also the
evolves.
first pack in the series with a physical item. When purchasing this pack, you'll receive a Path of Exile 2 logo t-shirt. But if you don't want one, you can opt out and return for additional points to spend in the store.
No, I want
Becoming a Warlord of the Karui supporter will grant you an armor set and back attachment adorned in jade carvings and iridescent feathers resembling power.
Oh my god,
Enough to
it's
even
so
impress
pretty.
the ancestral
Jade
gods,
looks so
specifically
good.
Tukohama, the Karui god of
Overwatch,
war.
that's what Jade looks like. Overwatch, please take
Overkill,
note.
you say? I
That's
think
Jade,
the Karui people would
not
disagree.
whatever you've done to
Why
our
not drop
weapons.
a gigantic totem on rare enemies you slay to crush them to a pulp? Replace your crafting bench in your hideout with the Ancestral Canoe crafting bench, where Ancestral Chief Mata will summon a giant canoe manned by Karui warriors to aid in your crafting desires.
We must all start somewhere.
Oh my god, are they doing a hot
You'll
fighting
also get a
game?
pair of weapon skins.
Oh my god.
Equip Akoya's Felling Axe skin to your one-hand or two-handed axes, or Tukohama's Crusher to your
Overwatch
one-handed or
wishes.
two-handed maces. A true Karui warlord is always accompanied by their trusty Kiwi. Equipped with armor and harnessing ancestral magic, they make the perfect sidekick. Once one of the most feared beings in Rayclast, Malachi was slain by a powerful exile. May the statue commemorate the virtue of exiles past, present, and of the future. Of course, it's not all about dressing up in game. You'll want to look good in real life too. By becoming a Warlord of the Karui supporter, you'll also get a Path of Exile 2
Okay, am I
hoodie.
wearing the same hoodie or is it a different
Our final tier
one?
of supporter pack in this series is the Liberator of Rayclast supporter pack. The Liberator of Rayclast armor set and back attachment come made with the finest materials in Rayclast, and shattered glass mosaics suspended in divine power.
Guys, do you recognize the music?
Set up your base of operations in the Beacon of Salvation hideout. Why restrict yourself to just one island when you can liberate more? The Beacon of Salvation hideout comes equipped with your own collection of small islands and personal operators of boats that you can use to row between them. Just walk to the piers, click a boat to enter, and navigate as you choose. Decorate each island as you see fit to best represent your well-earned hideout. Everyone in your hideout could use their own boat. Why not have some races?
Okay,
You can
I
also get
actually
the
feel
Window
like
to
they are
Twilight
really
portal
giving you
effect.
some
A beautiful
serious
mosaic
pixels
piece
for
of
your
art
money.
shatters and reveals a gateway to your desired destination as you approach it. As you walk away, the glass magically reforms back to its original form.
Okay, she's beautiful. I want it.
Rule in style with the Throne of the Ruler map device. Sure,
I
this map
have
device can create
no
portals to in-game
income.
maps, but it also comes with a throne you can sit on to oversee your growing kingdom. Look down
Is
on the
the
plebeians running
woman
your maps.
standing next to her just
Being the Liberator, though,
shirtless?
is not just about sitting in your
No,
throne
she's
all
wearing
day.
a crop top.
If you do decide to join the fight yourself,
That's
you can
cute.
leave a High Priest in charge as your second in command. Liberator of Rayclast supporters will also get a set of varied weapon skins. The Light of Divinity Scepter skin, the Deliverance Crossbow skin, the Justice Flail skin, and the Redemption Shield skin. Once again, you'll have an accompanying Kiwi, and of course a statue depicting one of the most iconic events in Rayclast's history.
Very
The
emotional
battle
listening
between
to
a
this
powerful
music,
exile and
watching
Kitava,
this,
the Insatiable.
because
With the
this
help of two
content
deities, Sin
that
and
this
Innocence,
music
the
went with
exile was able to defeat him
was
once and for all.
introduced when we found out about Path of
This
Exile
supporter pack
2.
also contains the Path of Exile 2 art book. This 215-page full-color art book includes a huge amount of amazing concept art and lore produced during the long and exciting journey of Path of Exile 2's development.
I want to...
And finally, Path of
Do I
Exile
have
has a
it?
tradition of letting the community participate in
I have
designing
ebooks
game
somewhere.
features. For Path of Exile 2, we'll be adding the Twilight Order Foil Reliquary. By becoming a Liberator of Rayclast supporter,
I can't.
once Path of Exile 2 is released, you'll be able to select any unique item you have found and be able to drop it from the Reliquary. Once players have submitted their items, keys to the Reliquary will start dropping, and other players will be able to find foil versions of uniques that you have submitted, along with a message for the lucky player. The more players submit the same unique, the more chances there will be for the Reliquary to drop them, so choose wisely.
What?
Now, almost all of these items are available to use in POE1 right now.
Is
There are a
that
few
how
exceptions where the
Reliquary
item
used to
class
work, or
clearly
is that
doesn't
how
exist, such
Reliquary
as
is
crossbows
working
or
now?
flails.
Like, it's like
And there are also a few
MTG.
microtransactions on weapon types that are unavailable in POE2 at the start of early access.
Chris,
Once
what
classes
have you
that use those
done?
weapon types are added, those microtransactions will be available to use. If you can't decide which supporter pack to choose yet, you can always start with the early access supporter pack.
And
that
then you
just
can
includes a key
upgrade.
and some points to spend in the store. Then you can upgrade to any of the following tiers at a later date.
Yeah.
These supporter packs will be available for purchase throughout early access. We'd really like to thank you for your ongoing support. Without you guys, Path of Exile 2 could not have happened.
There's
Now,
a
I'm sure you
plugin.
guys have a lot of questions. Stick around, because coming up next, we have a live
But give us a
Q&A with
pause.
Ziggy
I need to pee. Pause. Pause. Chat, please erupt.